Hey, what's up guys, Movie Maniac here. So continuing on with my Godzilla marathon of reviews, Godzilla. Next up in our reviews, the second Godzilla movie ever made, Godzilla Final Wars. Yeah, I got the DVD of it. It's so cool. English, Japanese version. Yeah, so cool, so cool. I'll let you guys look at it. Sorry for the glare. Yep. So yeah, awesomeness. So let's talk about the second movie. Now, this one is, how should I say it? Interesting. I mean, when I mean interesting, I mean something this is, well, actually, no, I'm just going to say it out. This one's actually pretty okay-ish. I mean, here's the thing. With this, this movie, this sequel, I feel like this was such a rushed sequel. I mean, this came out right after the original in 1955. Like, that is just crazy. And it was just, well, rushed. I mean, that's how I felt like it was. It was kind of rushed out a bit. And of course, it doesn't have that same gritty, realistic, dark, gritty feeling like the first movie had. This one's a little bit different. This one's more of 1950s cheesy horror movies, which I don't mind that because, you know, I'm a huge fan of that kind of stuff and I enjoy those kind of movies. So yeah, I mean, that's an interesting treat, but just not as good as the first though. So what's the plot of this movie? I'll gladly tell you. Now the plot contains that there is another Godzilla there's another Godzilla that's been made. And in Japan, well, Osaka instead of Tokyo, all the people from Osaka is just like, oh, shoot, Godzilla is alive. Again. We have nothing to stop it. We don't have the oxygen destroyer. We don't have that guy who made the oxygen destroyer. We're screwed. So yeah, but not only that, there's another monster named Gigantis, which Godzilla fights in this movie. And yes, this is the first ever Godzilla movie that Godzilla has ever fought a monster. And this is one of the first Godzilla monsters, Gigantis, which, here's a picture of it. Now, it's actually, Gigantis is such a cool monster. Mostly in the video games, because, like, he would blow, because mostly, like, whenever he, like, does his power, atomic breath thing, he doesn't have atomic breath, but, like, he blows out like a huge strong wind and stuff, but that's only for the video games. But he's got spikes, he can bite, he's on 4 legs and everything. I thought he was so cool. I mean, he kind of reminds me of a porcupine dinosaur, which Gigantis is really, really cool. So Gigantis is such a cool monster. Yeah. So let's see what else. Oh, I guess I should also mention the title, Godzilla Raids Again. Guess what it was actually originally called in America? Gigantis the Fire Monster. What? Gigantis the Fire Monster? But this is a Godzilla movie. Why do you call him Gigantis? I mean, are they trying to make this like a different monster movie? Because it's got Godzilla. I mean, why would they call it Gigantis the Fire Monster? I mean, I don't know. That's just really weird. It's just such a weird title. But most video and DVD releases, mostly the title is really Godzilla Raids Again. So yeah, what is up with us Americans? So yeah, I guess I should really say this one is actually pretty boring, I would say. I mean, the fights scenes are really cool between Gigantis and Godzilla, but I just think the plot is kind of boring. I mean, mostly the human characters. This is one of the first Godzilla movies where you start to say, ugh, I don't care about the human characters. Just get to the monsters already. Because the characters are boring, I would say. Because, you know, there's a guy who is trying to get to his future bride or something like that. He goes with his friends to this one, I'm guessing, wedding, maybe, and his bride didn't show up and he has to find his missing bride. I don't know. I was just thinking, wait, I thought this was a Godzilla movie. I mean, that's my first thought. I mean, why are you just changing the plot with a monster movie? All of a sudden it's a romance. I don't know. And I had a hard time following up what that other story is. Plus, I don't really care about that part of the story. But yeah, the human characters are absolutely boring. That's one big problem. Another big problem is that this movie looks cheap. I mean, like in the first original Godzilla movie, it looked very real with all the cinematography, angle shots, and everything, and the movements of the guy in the costume. Well, guess what? Godzilla fights another monster, which that must be frustrating for that guy in the costume. And remember how I said back then in my first review how hard it must be to be in that Godzilla costume? Well, just imagine being in that costume fighting another monster. That would totally suck. So they had to cut it down. So what they do, they mostly sped up the fight, which it looks really cheap. I mean, just imagine what would it be like if my voice was sped up like this the whole review. Makes it look cheap, huh? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the fight scenes are cool, but at the same time, they're so cheap to watch. It's just cheap and cheesy. So, yeah. I think that's all I have to say with Godzilla Raids Again. It's not great. Neither not that good, but not that bad. It's okay. I mean, it's got awesome fights. I'll give it credit for being the first Godzilla movie to have a Godzilla monster and have a Godzilla fight, but it's not one of the best. Not really. So, I would give Godzilla Raids Again a C. Just a regular C. So yeah. So, my ultimate question today is, what did you think of Godzilla Raids Again? Comment that down below. Check out my other videos. They're really cool. Like and subscribe. Like my page on Facebook. See ya.